All right, this next one comes from Rangor Code. I just watched your video about switching to the Godot engine, and I was curious if you have any reasons why you wouldn't use it. Oh man, there are some visual things that are definitely easier in other engines that I kind of miss. That's kind of hit and miss. I wouldn't necessarily not use it for that reason. I guess if you really wanted the Unreal look, then you should use that. If you're trying to make games for console, and it's definitely possible with the Godot engine. There are publishing companies out there that help you with that, but it's a lot easier with Unity and Unreal. They have the access that you need, and it's tested, it's used. If you're looking like, hey, I want to develop a game, I really want it to be on PS5, Switch, Xbox, all of those, I could see going with Unity or Unreal because the pathway is easier. The other thing I would say is that if you are trying to make this a more official profession, that you're actively trying to get a game development job, whether it's coding or art or anything like that, there is more use of Unity and Unreal within those professional studios than the Godot engine. Now that it's changing a little bit, it's slowly but surely. There are more studios that are using the Godot engine. But if you're looking for like Godot engine jobs, they're going to be a lot harder to find than someone who's working with Unity or working with Unreal. This is actually making me think of a story of my own experience. And I was a part of a VR thing with Meta. It was basically, people were making a project and showcasing it in VR, and then Meta would, award funding for different projects. There was a breakup between, who was using what engine. And in fact, there were like guided practices about how to integrate stuff, and those only existed with Unity. So I was using Unreal at the time, and so there were no resources for me. I was just kind of doing it on my own. I'd sit in and listen on those, but it was basically useless. But there was definitely a like 90% Unity, 9% Unreal, and I do think there was a 1% using the Godot engine. That kind of lays it out. Like Unity was the more popular choice, and so there were more people using it, and therefore the resources that they were giving were very directed at Unity. So if you knew Unity, you got more out of it. So I do think if you're looking actively for true studio-based jobs of a game developer, whether it's junior or whatever, I do think you kind of have to follow a little bit what the industry is using. And so if they're looking for Unity developers, you need to know how to work within Unity. You just do. I mean, ideally, you should know how to work in everything. So that would be another reason that I would maybe stay away from the Godot engine, at least initially. Doesn't mean you can't use it. To focus, like, I need to learn how to do something, focus your time on stuff that's going to actively be used in the industry. In terms of what the engine can actually do, unless you're really developing something that has a specific need for, how the Unreal Engine handles graphics, or maybe just a feature of the Unreal Engine that's going to be more beneficial to you and what you're making, and like the procedural content that they just did in the recent release. If that's going to be super useful to you in making your game, and you kind of already know what you're doing game development wise, it's just more of the program, then use Unreal. That's the better tool. These are all just tools. So let's say you're making a chair and you have 3 different types of hammers, and each hammer has a specific, purpose to it. They're just tools. Like, you don't go into that process saying like, I must use hammer 1 because I'm a hammer 1 kind of person. No, you use the tool that's going to work better. Use the thing that is going to do the best job for what you're trying to do. And maybe that's the Godot engine. Maybe it's JavaScript. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's okay. It doesn't mean you can't use the other thing at the same time or at a different time.